I do hope that's fog and it's going to burn off because I got company coming today. Hello everyone. Remember when this wood holder was piled this high with firewood? My son and I stacked it in that video. Well, it's virtually empty, and I learned a few lessons from the recent snow and ice storm, and I want to share that with you. But first, take a look at the big thaw. snow seems to be melting off the driveway this way. Wow. Okay, so from the beginning of being here, I was well aware I needed to have a good supply of firewood in case the power goes out. That's really my main source of heat, that stove. So I had called and gotten the third delivery of wood. First delivery was this, the seasoned oak. That was the green oak. I made the mistake of positioning the green oak in the garage. I should have had that originally put in the shop. But it's here, and that's a big job for me to move that over there, so I had not done that. Because I never imagined, really, honestly, I grew up in Tennessee. If we had a wee bit of snow, it was just miraculous. And that's the way I felt about this snowstorm, which is why I got out and enjoyed it and had some fun and made some great videos. So when they brought the third load of wood, one of the men had been, I think the son had been in contact with someone who had the virus, and he wanted a contactless delivery. So I said, oh, no problem. I'll open the garage door. You guys can stack it in the shop, and I'll leave the check out on the door. No problem. But then this happens, and I had been warned that firewood goes very quickly when you're using it around the clock. And I didn't need to use it around the clock. I have a heater, and I did not lose power, fortunately. So I could have relied on my heater and just backed off on the firewood, but I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see if Kaye was capable of keeping a fire going through the day and having warm coals in the morning to start up again. And I actually was able to do that. I proved to myself that I could do that. So that part was an achievement, and I did not get everything cleaned out, but I just never imagined that we would have that much snow, that I would get iced in. I never thought that I wouldn't have my pickup truck with four-wheel drive. I just was sure I was gonna have that by my birthday on February 14th. That didn't happen. And now, update on the Colorado, the factory where they manufacture the Colorado has been closed indefinitely, and GM doesn't tell you when you could get a Colorado even if you ordered a new one. So I'm on the hunt for a used one. I mean, they're just very popular, and you can't find, it's hard to find one. So I used the only thing I had, which was that wagon. It has wide tires, but they're not snow tires. And I drug it over there, and I've learned a lot of lessons from my viewers, my comments section. They said, always turn your wagon in the direction you're going before you load it. Very good advice. Two homesteaders in their 70s, 70 and 72 respectively, both left me that comment. Very good advice. I will do that in future. I did learn that having my firewood close at hand was great. I can come out into my garage, it doesn't freeze out here, and get wood without having to get all bundled up, get freezing, and go outside. So I like having that in here. What I needed was my backup supply over there, my green wood over there, and use that a year from now. I love getting up early. Oh, it's just starting to get light. Obviously, the number one thing that I needed and the lesson that I learned was I didn't even have a snow shovel. Crazy. That is crazy. Now, I'm older and I have to be careful with my back, so I just ordered a snow shovel that is more ergonomic. You still have to put your back into it, but it has two handles, so you're doing more of a sideways motion, like you're cutting through the forest or something, rather than pushing forward and trying to lift it with like that. It's two handles, so you can kind of do a side-by-side thing, and hopefully I'll like that. It's on the way. It'll be here in 3 days. I don't know if we'll get any more snow. We are at the end almost of February. So we're heading into March, and I've got huge plans for the garden, which I'm going to share with you. Big news in the next video. But shovel, should have had a shovel. And I could have used the ice melt. And I've been reading about it online. I'm very into no chemicals, and so I've got to research that. I've never had a problem. I mean, I was in New York in an apartment that was always taken care of by someone else, and then of course my house in LA, we never even froze, much less had an inch of ice with 6 inches of snow on top of that. I mean, I never would have imagined that happened, but now I know, and I know that I can survive it in terms of heat if you've got your wood. I got very interested in my birds because I've never had this many birds. And so I decided during this whole storm event that I would feed them from a pot saucer on the porch. And that way I could really see all the birds and maybe get some great photographs, because it was freezing, so I could just sit inside my picture window and take some film and pictures through the window. What happened, I didn't realize this obviously, is birds cannot see glass. They cannot determine that they are about to run into glass. And so I have had 3 casualties that I know of, and one other major stun of a cardinal, but she recovered. And so I was advised by a number of viewers to get the decals for my windows. The food source is scarce when there's 6 inches of snow, so you put out bird seed, and oh my gosh, all the birds found out about it. So you got all these birds rushing to my front porch. A lot of competition out there. I don't know if you saw in that video, but the birds, the cardinals, will just sit on the side of the tray and go, okay, just guard it, until everybody's gone, and then they'll eat. And, so there's some territorial stuff definitely going on out there. You can definitely see who's more bullish and who's more cowering and sneaking in for the sneak attack and running out, and others that will just come and like stand in the tray and just defy anyone to come in. So it's very interesting. But what happens is you are attracting all these birds to your house, and I've got all these picture windows. I've got 3 picture windows in my garage. Also, my brother was here, and I wasn't feeling well when my brother and sister-in-law were here, and they did so much work to help me get things looking a little bit better. And he said, Kay, you really can't be feeding the birds from the porch. I mean, you saw in that last video, there's so many seed holes all over the place. And of course they poop wherever they are. He swept it and blew it all off, but it needs to be power washed. And I've learned my lesson. So my friend Daryl, as you know, makes bird feeders from gourds and birdhouses. And this one is even bigger, slightly bigger than the yellow one that I have. And so that's going to hold a lot of seed. And also this is a clever design. It's sort of like a cabana. You know, I think I bent the wire. There you go. Holds a lot of seed in the bottom. And then it's got this top cover to keep some of the rain out. It won't keep all the rain out, but it'll keep a lot of it out. One other thing, very important, neighbor up. I need to neighbor up. And I have sort of minded my own business up here and not bothered anybody, and I don't want to be a bother to anybody. But in times like what we just had, I need to know a few people around me and to know what the resources are. You know, if I don't have something, maybe they do, vice versa. And so I need to make an effort to reach out to my neighbors. So lots of improvements, lots of changes, and lots of lessons learned. So I hope this has been informative, maybe helpful to you if you're thinking about homesteading, and especially if you're starting over like me. And I hope you will subscribe to my channel and we can learn a lot more together. And I'll see you in the next video. So now it's going to rain for 6 straight days. Am I prepared?